Welcome to Talk Chef. I am one of your hosts, Reka.
I'm your other host, Jordan.
And today we have a very special guest. He was the head writer at College Humor, Mike Trapp. Hello, Mike.
Hello.
I never call you Mike. It feels weird coming out of my mouth.
I get that. I've had other people be like I have it accidentally slip out and be like, did I say something wrong? Can I call you Mike? It's like, yeah, you can call me by my name.
It feels offensive.
It does. Like they call
Is that a slur?
Yeah, like
Can
they
I
called
call
you fuck
Mike?
or something.
Hey, loser. Hey, fuck.
Yeah.
4-letter word
Yeah.
with a hard K in there. It's like, oh, this is wrong. I shouldn't be doing this.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for coming on Talk Chef. Trapp, you are a big Top Chef fan, right?
I am a big Top Chef fan, but I'm maybe not as big as you because I know you've rewatched like every season a million times.
Yeah,
I kind of started watching at, I don't know, maybe around like season 5 or so, and then have just been like religiously watching since then.
Yes, I have an illness.
Sure.
Where I have to watch it. I started season 11 again yesterday. I'm on the finale. So like it's a sickness.
Now, when you say you started season 11, because you were watching through or because you particularly like season 11, you had to
I love season 11 is one of my favorites. I've rewatched all of the seasons. I just kind of pick and choose. I go, I'm feeling season 10 today.
I'm in a Texas mood.
Sometimes I am in a Texas
Truly.
mood.
Or if you remember like a really good challenge, like sometimes Rachel will be like, oh my God, remember that one dish from that one challenge? And then I feel like that will inspire.
This is where, do you watch just that episode or do you watch the whole season?
No, I watched the whole season, but sometimes I'll be inspired to watch that season because I'll be like, oh my God, that one challenge was so fun.
I feel like you're thinking of a specific
challenge.
I
think I know something Jordan could be thinking of.
What is it, Reka?
I don't know if this is correct. I know this is one of the challenges you like. That's
Write down your answer. This is the newlywed.
The Cookie Monster challenge. I know you like.
That's one of my favorites. Yeah, I love the cookie challenge where the Sesame Street characters come and it's Elmo and Cookie Monster and they're actually
as judges. Don't say they just came. They're judges.
They're the judges.
They had a job to do.
They're the judges. They are surprisingly vulgar.
Yeah, they just like fuck on screen openly.
Yeah, it's really gross. No, but they like are kind of like naughty.
Yeah, they're like
Elmo likes it when you do that.
Okay, yes, kind of.
Yes, they're a little raunchy. And then what are the other challenges? Oh man, we just talked about one. I think go ahead.
I was gonna say one that I think they've only ever done once that I like really liked, and I was like, oh, that was a fun setup that they haven't done before. Was they had that one where it was like head to head, like you're gonna taste a dish and you have to say how many ingredients you think you can name just by tasting it alone.
Spelling bee style,
yeah.
But like you had to like wager, like only one would get a chance to answer. You had to like wager how much you're gonna do, and then so it was like gambling, but it was also like a taste test at the same time.
Yes, because it was a thing too. Like if you're like 6, the other person in your duo has to say 7 or they're out.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you can't name 6, that was
which is interesting. This tells me that Trapp is very interested in like strategy and the game of it all.
I'm actually not so much. I think what it really is I always like the taste test challenges because I think that is like it is like an interesting thing to see, like, oh, can you pick those things out? But like, there's only so many times you can watch someone be like, all right, I'm blindfolded. Like, is this turmeric? And I think it was like a way to like take that same taste test challenge and like put like a little twist on it and make it like a little bit more competitive and kind of, I don't know, a little more fun.
If I may also try to get some psychology out of you, Trapp,
please, yes.
See if I'm more successful. I feel like it comes from, I think everyone likes to see this, but I think you like to see people who do a really particular skill extraordinarily. Like someone was like, I can fillet a fish the fastest you've ever seen. Yes. That would be a really interesting quickfire to you. Or
yeah, I want to see someone just fucking like there was one of the early seasons that I only caught like one episode of. There's like one of the contestants like can like just fucking butcher a chicken like no one's business, and it's just like hung? Yes, it's just like fucking like going through chickens like
that was psychotic. So great. So we know we've got an expert here today, which is awesome. Luis asked which episode we're talking about. We're talking episode 7. This is the first ever Restaurant Wars, and that's incredible.
Unbelievable.
Yes. Before we dive in to our episode.
Yes. I think we should talk about our charity.
Yes. So
This is so exciting. So we're really, really excited today. We are raising money for the Hollywood Food Coalition, which is a place where Reka and I actually volunteer in real life. It's incredible. If you are interested in volunteering there, you live in LA County, they're mostly in Hollywood and then do some stuff in West Hollywood on the weekends. You can look at their website, Hollywood Food Coalition. You'll find it on Google, or you can DM me and I can tell you more about it. We really love it. They serve meals to people in LA who are homeless, who are food insecure. It's a really incredible organization. $3 serves a meal to a person. And let me just tell you that these are not like, Reka and I have been in the kitchen. We serve these meals. They are not like scrappy meals. These are like nice meals, big portions, delicious food, like multiple courses. You're getting a salad, you're getting a fruit salad, you're getting a dessert, you're getting a bread, you're getting an entree.
And let's talk about these desserts for 1 second. These desserts are
classic Reka. We gotta talk about them.
I know, she needs to.
These are not just like some old cookie. This is stuff from like, or donated by like Sprinkles Bakery, donated by Cake Monkey. Are you kidding me? Donated by so many like good ass bakeries in LA. This is like good ass shit. And it's $3 for a meal. So your dollar goes a hell of a long way. So
yes. And just to be clear, the meal is free for the person.
Yes. Sorry. It's not, they pay $3.
As we're saying it, I'm like, it sounds like we're making homeless people pay $3 for a meal. That's not what it is. The meal is free for them.
The desserts are good. So they want to do it.
Exactly. Yes. The meal is free for them. But with your donation, let's say you donate $10, that is over 3 meals, right? That's 3 full meals and then a little extra for 3 different people who are homeless or food insecure in Los Angeles, which is a huge problem here. We have a lot of regulars who are incredible people who rely on us to provide food. So please donate. Reka will drop my Venmo in the chat. If this is your first time watching the show, all the money goes to my Venmo, and then you have 24 hours. So until 8:30 tomorrow, Pacific Standard Time, you have that time to donate to my Venmo for Hollywood Food Coalition. And on our Instagram, I post the receipt of how much we raised. So we're hoping to raise a bunch of money. The show just started and we've already raised, Reka, you're literally going to lose your cool. We've already raised $70.
That's psychotic, everyone. You're incredible.
We're 8 minutes into the show.
That's $10 a minute. That's like $10 a minute. That's incredible.
That's absolutely unbelievable. And I wish I could do...
That was my rate at College Humor.
Yeah, and the next charity is going to be for Reka to get her rate at College Humor. So that's
paying
really
by the minute like a fucking lawyer.
Yes. So just to let people know, yeah. Just to let people know, we've already provided over 23 meals for people in Los Angeles. Yeah,
that's
so I'll be
incredible.
keeping you up with that. So thank you so much for that. That's so important to us. We truly love you. We love this charity. So let's hit the actual show. I'm excited. Like Reka said, this is our first Restaurant Wars. And yes, Reka, no, you go.
I was going to say Restaurant Wars is a hot button issue for Top Chef fans.
Yeah. It really is.
Do you think they knew from the beginning that this was going to be like a Top Chef tradition, a staple you had to do? Like every season we'll do a Restaurant Wars.
I don't think so because they didn't.
So.
I don't think they like branded it very much. Like the episode was called Restaurant Wars. Maybe they said it in the name of the Elimination Challenge, but even in the actual challenge, I think they could have branded it harder. Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like now you watch a season and it's like everyone knows it's like there's only 8 of us left. Do you know what that means? And everyone's like, God's like, I can't Restaurant Wars.
Yeah, everyone takes off their sweater. They're wearing a Restaurant Wars shirt.
Restaurant Wars t-shirt contest.
Yeah.
You already referenced that it's a little controversial. I kind of hate Restaurant Wars. Yes. I don't know how the two of you feel.
I don't mind it. It's not my favorite episode, but Jordan made me realize something, which is that I can't remember the dishes from Restaurant Wars because this is one of the only episodes of a Top Chef season that is not about the food. It's really about like a bunch of other crap, like making a cook into the front of house manager. That has nothing to do with food.
It's insane.
I feel like Restaurant Wars takes like it is the perfect example of a group project, you know? It's just like, it's all the worst parts of like working as a team and like always introduces something that is like, it's like, I'm watching Top Chef because I want to see like cool food and people like at the top of their game. And then this is people being like, I guess I got to train a wait staff and I gotta like, I gotta like,
bowls.
There's always just some bullshit. And almost like inevitably someone ends up like either winning or going home that probably didn't deserve it. Cause it's just like, we can't sort out this group, who the individual from the group. So I guess you.
Yes.
I honestly think that was why Last Chance Kitchen was born. I think that challenges like that tend to knock out someone who's really good, that was like, I chose to be executive chef and the waiters, delivered half the food wrong and I got stressed and I got knocked out. I feel like that's part of it.
You had a parade of chimpanzees as waiters, but the food didn't make it to the table. Now, as head chef, you are responsible for what happens. I don't think that's fair.
I don't at all. I absolutely hate restaurant wars. And I have since the beginning. As I've said before, I have been watching Top Chef on TV since season 1, episode 1 in 2006. And I have always hated it. It's not good. And I think that they intentionally get bad waiters. Also, speaking as someone who was like a waiter in different restaurants for a very long time, there are basic things that and I'm like, these are not waiters. These are
I think they're extras.
I think they're extras, who don't know how to do anything. So I'm like, okay, that's already against you.
And you'd think if they're extras, they do have food service experience. Exactly. Actors always have food service
Exactly, but for some reason they don't.
That classic joke, right? Like, it's like, oh, you're an actor? What restaurant?
Yeah, right?
So, and I also think there's always the thing of like, and they did it in this one with Miguel. At the end, they're like, oh, so Miguel was like, well, I don't really have any experience with Spanish food. And they were like, well, why didn't you make them do a different restaurant? And it's like, well, what is he supposed to do? Hold a knife to their necks? And it's like, it's a group project.
I will not do Spain, you hear
me?
Truly.
It's like, and there's only so much he can say or do. And there's 3 people, 2 of you want to do something. It's like, you have to bend.
Yes.
So I hate this challenge. I think it's really bad. But I did like the quickfire this week.
On that really uplifting note, I hate this episode and everything it's about. Trapp, not only does this episode have a quickfire, but you have a quickfire.
Oh, shit.
We are going to, this is not something we told you. We purposely like to surprise people. We are going to ask
devious.
Yes. Okay. So our quickfire is the fastest quickfire in Top Chef history. It's 45 seconds.
Okay.
And you have 45 seconds to answer 10 questions. And these are not trivia questions. These are questions just about you, your personal preferences, things sort of tangentially rated, but they're all like opinion based.
Okay.
Only 2 people have ever completed this quickfire. The prize is you get a suite of Kenmore appliances and a deed to the Turlotto Vineyard.
Turlotto wines.
My favorite wine I've only heard of on TV.
There was, I used to read the AV Club recaps after Top Chef episodes. And on one of them, someone had the comment that Turlotto wine was turlet wine. And now I can't hear Turlotto wine without forming that association. Like, we're done for
my turlet wine. Honestly,
our sponsor tonight is Turlotto wine.
I would love, they have a whole suite of Turlotto and Quickfire wines. And I would love to try them.
That being said, we will be getting a cease and desist from Turlotto wine.
We regret
10 more.
Yeah.
Okay, so Trapp, your time starts after I finish asking question 1.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Question 1. And this is based on my knowledge of what your food philosophy is. What is the worst?
Absolutely not.
Restaurant wars, good or bad?
Bad.
What would you name your restaurant wars restaurant?
Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Dinner.
What is the worst name for a restaurant?
Probably Turds Ahoy.
Yeah. Is it
okay? Knives down, hands up. So
what was the last one?
Is it can or con?
Con, but I did love how everyone steadfastly refused to pronounce it the same. You're going to con? Yeah, can.
Yeah. For me, it depends on how much Turlotto wine I've had.
Yeah. Oh, mommy broke into the Turlotto.
Yeah. If I've had a lot, then it's con.
I'm going to con this.
Exactly.
You did really well. You didn't win the Turlotto Vineyard, but that's okay.
We're sorry.
That's all right.
You win it at the end of the show.
Next time.
That was incredible. So let's dive in, shall we?
Do people think falafel's bread?
No.
Well, some people do. Miguel does. And
right. Yes.
We will get to that. So we're going to go through each of the dishes from the Quickfire. And just a reminder for people who didn't watch the Quickfire or watched it and completely spaced because they've had other things to do this week. The Quickfire was Tom Colicchio, judge of Top Chef, comes on the show. He has a restaurant called Witchcraft, which I was curious, Reka and Trapp, have either one of you been to a Witchcraft?
I have been to both Witchcraft and Craft.
Okay. I too have been to Witchcraft, so we'll put a pin in that and come back to how we think the food is. But so they had to make a sandwich, and if you won, the sandwich was going to be on the Witchcraft menu. And these are the dishes. We'll give them a little thumbs up or thumbs down. So we started with Steven, sensationally pretentious as usual. He made a sandwich that was perfect to be served between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. And
normal way to describe
a normal way to describe a sandwich. And then Tom was like, "You mean brunch?" And he was like, "Yeah,
if that's what the commoners call it, then sure, brunch."
I guess if you're poor,
I guess if you can't afford two separate words. So this sandwich had manchego cheese, plantains, fennel salad, egg, and prosciutto. I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah. I say yes.
Why not? I love a plantain.
I also want to say that Stephen, as part of describing this dish, did say, because as a justification of why he made a sandwich that you can eat between 11 and 3, I rise pretty late.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
And I know.
I was just going to say something we like to touch on every episode of season 1 is that Stephen is in fact 24 years old. I don't know if you picked that up while watching the episode. He is 24 years old.
I do feel like I know Stephen. Like I don't know Stephen, but I feel like I went to school with some Stephens, you know, and I feel like I could fill the whole episode talking about with how much I hate this guy.
Yes, absolutely. That's a common theme on our show. Then we had Dave. Dave returned to his classic flavors, says Tom, and he made the sandwich called the Grape Ape. But it had a mushroom duxelle, roasted red pepper, pecorino, grape jam, and ham.
I'm here for it. I'll try it.
Why not?
That sounds salty and sweet, baby.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, I honestly can't remember the sandwiches that everyone made, and we'll see when we go through here. But it's hard for me to think of someone putting together ingredients in the Top Chef kitchen into a sandwich and having that be like, no. You know?
Sure.
It did also seem like, because they had condiments there, I was like, are they cooking anything?
I don't think they cooked anything.
No.
This
like, they sauteed some like mushrooms and greens and stuff, but like all the shit was already there. Is it just like an assembly? Like
how much time do they have for this challenge?
20 minutes, I think.
To make a sandwich.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Putting a pin in that. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. So then Tiffany made a roast beef sandwich that had some kind of rosemary situation, but there really was not much else said about it. Reka, did you pick up anything else from this sandwich?
Yes. It was called a French toast toad in a hole. And it was the biggest sandwich anyone had ever seen.
In their life. Yeah.
They said the sandwich is like a baby. It's
which, you know,
it sucks that I have to eat this whole thing.
Yeah. If it goes by logic, then if it's baby sized, Reka would love this sandwich.
I love a toddler sized burrito. Yeah. That's
she's constantly saying that.
Are you familiar with the child's breakfast?
No.
It's an English dish. It's a British dish called the child's breakfast, but it's called that because it is roughly the size and weight of a small child.
Okay.
It's like 64 slices of toast and 20 eggs and a bunch of sausages or something like that. If you Google child's breakfast, you'll probably see a picture of it. Yeah, but that's what it reminds me of.
I see a lot of kids eating cereal.
All right, fine.
I'll look it up later.
So I guess her sandwich was like a toad in a hole with roast beef and some kind of rosemary. Not to kind of project my own opinion onto the sandwich, but that is what I gathered. I felt like her sandwich had significantly less of a description than anyone else's sandwich.
I'll say a French toast toad in a hole, which is what I wrote. Sounds great.
Was it French toast?
It said French toast, but it could be. Is there a different understanding of French toast, like French bread toast or something?
Like French toast means roast.
I think I know what French toast is. Is this what French toast is?
This what French toast is? Am I stupid? Or do you put the whole sandwich in the egg batter as a whole?
Okay, maybe. Okay, you're joking, but it could be that.
I would eat that.
I don't know. Sure. I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
Look, I feel like I'm gonna say yes, but I feel like we're penalizing the description of the sandwich. Like, I feel like I don't know this sandwich, you know?
But that's part of it, wouldn't you say? That's part of it, right? If you go to a restaurant, you look at the menu says roast beef.
But is that the chef or is that the producers who are providing us with the description of the sandwich? Although I guess if I heard roast beef toad in the hole, I wouldn't really know what I was getting.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's true.
But you know what? I'd still eat it. I'm sticking with my thumbs up.
All right, very positive. We love that. Then Leanne made a salami and fried egg sandwich with my personal favorite ingredient, sunchokes.
I'd eat that.
Whoa. Sorry, it was. Look, I'm gonna eat everything, but I think that sounded like the least interesting or appetizing one to me. It was like salami, egg, and sunchoke.
Yes.
And she had greens that she didn't chop, so they came out like worms.
Yeah, the greens were too long. Yeah, the greens were too long.
I feel like warm salami is also kind of a generally like bad call for me. Like, I know it can be okay in like a toasted like I get why some people like it. I think it just like turns really greasy. And sunchokes are just a fart machine. That's it. Like, I think you're asking for like a lot of bad times.
Bad?
Yes, that's right. Most people don't fart all the time. Anyway,
moving on.
Anyway, Rika and I aren't farting right now. Anyway, the next sandwich is Harold. He made a sandwich with mortadella, dandelion greens, and black olive aioli.
Hi.
Into it.
We stand Harold on this show. We love Harold.
We do. Harold has a home here.
Yeah.
And then our last sandwich for this challenge was Miguel, who made which is crazy because I watched this episode today with my mom, and my mom said, "What would you make if you did this challenge?" And I said, I would do a falafel inspired sandwich with halloumi. And Miguel made a falafel inspired sandwich, but where he went wrong is instead of making a sandwich, he made the bread out of falafel patties. So it was in fact not a sandwich at all.
There's been a mistake at the falafel factory. Oops, all chickpeas.
I will say, I think Miguel was maybe a little ahead of his time in preempting the sort of endless "is this a sandwich" internet debates, and also things like the whatever that like chicken sandwich was that KFC did a while back that was like two chicken patties.
The double down.
Double down. I feel like maybe he was just a little too forward thinking in what he decided bread could or could not be.
This from the man who openly said falafel is not bread. Interesting.
It's not bread. Hey, look, this is me trying to throw him a bone because I was like, what an insane choice to make. You have 20 minutes to just make a sandwich. It's like, I'm going to
do an inside out falafel.
Yeah. Okay, we're ragging on him, but what I will say is I think if someone did this today, people would like it.
Oh yes, that's to that point I do agree with Trapp.
You know what I mean?
Honestly, I'm a lunatic, and I know people are going to roast me for this. I do eat a lot of things with a fork and a knife, and I have not been a stranger to eating a sandwich that is big with a fork and a knife. Sorry,
Rika will eat anything with a fork and a knife, and it is weird.
I love it
because I'm the opposite. I'll eat everything with my hands. So when Rika and I eat together, weirdly, it feels like
I grew up eating with my hands. Indian food you eat with your hands, but every other food I fork and knife. I don't know. I'm complex.
I'm more with Jordan here. Some feels like more like intimate and like I don't know.
See,
I'm a tactile eater.
I like my big selective bites, and I don't want like juice dripping down my hands.
What are you talking? You get a nice French onion soup. You just get right in there. You grab the broth and just slurp it all up, dripping down your elbow. This soup is great.
Yes.
I agree. And then, so in the end, Miguel was almost the winner because they loved the way that his sandwich tasted. Also, Tom Colicchio mentioned that he does not really have many vegetarian options on his menu, which I noticed when I went to Witchcraft a few years ago.
So did I.
There you go. But Miguel loses, and in fact, Harold wins.
And that didn't surprise me. I mean, so we can talk about Witchcraft for like a little bit, right? For just a second.
Just a second. I do want to say, if you've been to Witchcraft, Tom Colicchio's sandwich restaurant, which to be honest, since all of us live in LA now, I am not even sure if it's open anymore. But drop in the comments if you've been to Witchcraft and what you think about it.
Yeah.
Is there one in LA? I think there might be.
Oh.
I haven't been to. I feel like I had like have a vague memory of someone saying that they like. I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere on like the west side or like Long Beach or something there was one set up, but I don't know.
Yeah, witchcraft. So like, it didn't have any vegetarian options. I remember, I think I got like a breakfast sandwich there once, and it was like fine. I don't think it's. So I used to work at 30 Rock, and there's a witchcraft downstairs.
Whoa, name drop.
Wow.
Yeah. Sorry, I edited true crime television. But yeah, I went there once. I think I got a breakfast sandwich. It was fine. It was like $11, like some sort of avocado situation. And then I remember they had a PB&J that I think was like $7 or $8.
I remember that too.
Yeah, I don't. I can't get behind. I always feel like a shithead anytime I'm like, oh, it's too expensive. It's such like it feels like a dumb way to like do assess stuff. But at the same time, it's like you do have to kind of price things appropriately, and that does, especially like when I was like right out of college in New York, and kind of being like, it's like, oh cool, it's like a sandwich shop in the middle of the park, and it feels kind of nice. Like this will be like it'll be a little upscale, but not too much, and then have like a $12 PB&J. It's like, oh, I see what we're doing here. I guess fuck me.
It's just the $12 PB&J or $7 to $12 PB&J or whatever, that for whatever reason, when you like, because once New York, you sort of had to list calories or whatever, it'll be like 1,800 calories. You're like, what the fuck is happening here? Why is this so expensive? Why is this somehow all of my daily calories or whatever? Yes. I'm not going to count, but that's crazy.
Yeah, that's true. I think a lot of those types of restaurants where it's like upscale, fast casual, kind of like Cheesecake Factory or California Pizza Kitchen, do feel like that, where it's like a salad is 300,000 calories and costs $19. And you're kind of like, wait a second, what is a salad? You know, it kind of makes you rethink what you know.
How much money do you think Cheesecake Factory poured into lobbyists trying to get like, it's like, you can't pass this law where we share the calories. You can't do this. They can't know our horrible secret.
Absolutely. I mean, I can't even imagine.
It's absolutely crazy. Yes. So that's what we think about witchcraft. Drop it in the comments what you think about witchcraft.
People are weighing in, and a lot of people are saying similar things to us of like, oh, I went once, I don't really remember it. Matt says it felt very like, Matt said it felt very upscale chefy sandwich place, which was on trend in 2006 before everyone else did it, which I'll agree. That's when I had it when I was like in college in New York.
We love that.
I agree.
Terrific. So now we're into the elimination challenge, which we all know is restaurant wars. So this one is a little bit scaled down. If you've been seeing later seasons of Top Chef, this is a little bit different. Basically, it's 30 guests are coming to this 2-room warehouse, 1 red room for the blue team, 1 white room for the red team. Endlessly confused me. Put the red team in the red room.
Don't give them a choice. Just put them in there.
Deeply confusing to me.
I didn't even
and
notice
also
that.
Call the blue team the white team. You know what the location is. You all you've scouted this place out.
Madness. 30 guests have to choose based on the menus laid out in front of each room which restaurant they'd rather dine at, which to me seems sort of flawed. Because if I'm designing this challenge, if I'm a producer or a writer on this show, I'd go, what if one restaurant just completely has a fucking terrible menu and 29 restaurant or diners go to this one and one person goes to this one?
It looked like they took tags and it looked like there were limited amounts. So I think it was first come, first serve. And then at a certain point, they would just run out of seats for one place and would have to go to the other place.
But I do think that is always stupid, because there are challenges like that too, where it's like, you can only pick one thing. And I'm like, if the diners can only pick one thing, they're only trying that one thing. So they might think it's good. I think
all the diners should get all of them.
That's how I feel. I like the challenge, like in Top Chef New Orleans, when they do the Lea Michele challenge for Halloween at the swamp. And they
I love that.
And it's really asked them to make spooky things.
Yeah. She asked them to make spooky things. It's really a hodgepodge.
But all of the carry out of cheese.
Yes. I love the Lea Michele swamp challenge.
Yes. But they all have beads and they try all the dishes. And then at the end, you give whoever your favorite is the beads, which I think is good, because I think comparing the dishes is so important.
Well, it also like, and I, not to jump ahead too much, but like, it does feel like there's a flaw in there too. Cause it's like, oh, you're going to be judged based on like what the diners think of you. And it's like, well, the diners didn't try both of them. Like one whole restaurant could have just a bunch of assholes. And we're like, the water wasn't cold enough and service is very important to me. So 1 star. It's like, it doesn't seem like a fair assessment.
Yes. And I mean, I know that now you're saying they have the little tag system, but I'm like, if one restaurant had 13 and one had 17, you're not getting the same amount of surveys. So the percentage of like good and bad, I mean, I know they averaged like,
and you're not having the same percentage of diners.
Yes.
So it's so like you're having less service, more people. So I think that's a factor. And I also think it's just like, these people, I'm sorry, but the impression I got was these people were not other chefs or Michelin-starred food critics.
No.
They seemed like normal people. And I think that like when you're presenting a menu, you want your menu to sound appetizing, obviously, but like I don't think someone should be penalized for having something on a menu that maybe people haven't heard of.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in 2006, it's like cuisine wasn't as global, I would say, as it is now. So I think that it's like, why are you in trouble for that?
I mean, again, like jumping a little bit, like it was like truly shocking to me, not having ever seen this episode before. And also like, just sort of like kind of going back and being like, oh God, the food world was so different, like 15 years ago or whatever, where it was like, just like some of the phrasing, like the way it's like, oh, people love beef, or like Spain is hot right now. Like, so these things are just like, what are you talking about?
I don't really remember my 2006, I guess, because I don't remember any sort of Spain, Spain being slick and hot. The way Steven was talking about it too is also discussing it. Made me go like, poor Spain. Like,
Spain, the sweaty country.
Yeah. Steven, keep Spain out of your mouth.
Yeah, right. Get Spain out of your mouth. Okay, so during the prep, just to outline, the teams were, I'm not even going to do the colors. The colors were so upsetting. Okay. One team was Miguel, Leanne, and Steven. Their restaurant was Sabor, which Leanne and Steven kind of gravitated towards Spanish cuisine because they said Spain is hot in a sort of inexplicable way that made me feel like an alien. And Leanne comments, because like Leanne has been killing it this season up to this point. And she was like, I'm with the big thinker and the no thinker. Steven being the big thinker and Miguel being the no thinker. And then Harold, Tiffany, and Dave are doing something that I think Jordan and I have a lot of thoughts on, like New American. And their restaurant is called American Workshop, which they were all like, this is the creme de la creme of names. I was like, what? It sounds like a play or an auto body shop.
Yes, it sounds like a gas station. That's the exact thought I had, Reka.
It's a reality show about a bunch of gruff men who work on cars.
Yes, it was probably so on BBC, even though it's called American Workshop.
Yeah. It started as the Great British Workshop, but then they brought it over here.
Yes, and it's not as good.
It's not as good. Yeah, they didn't capture the tone the right way.
Yes.
I thought it was absolutely unreal when Tiffany said that she had been sitting on that name for 5 years. I was like, you what?
That's like when you hear somebody is like, they name naming your kid.
No, okay. I was gonna say, it feels like when like you talk to someone. Mine was a very like Hollywoody kind of thing. When you talk to someone who's like, I've got this idea for a show or a movie or something, and it's just like the most like milquetoast dumbest thing ever. Where it's like, hey, I've been working on it for like 7 years. It's like, oh no,
I haven't opened my shutters. What's been going on?
It's kind of like, it's like a movie about like a family, but then they got like some trauma and like, like the mom dies and they gotta come together.
Yeah. Like, I would say it sounds like when someone's like, they've got a baby name picked out. And they're like, yeah, I've wanted to name my baby this since I was little. And then you hear it, and it's like, Gurf. And you're like, beautiful.
Okay, Reka's roasting herself because she's told me a bunch of times she wants to name her baby Gurf.
So another thing I wanted to point out that Steven said, it's so funny because he talks like somebody that's like been written to talk like an asshole, where like he's saying something that he believes is a positive, but to me is a negative. So he's like, we want to emphasize innovative style and esoteric technique. And I was like, esoteric technique to me in a restaurant, if you were to say that, I'd be like, oh, you want me to feel a little dumb? Like you want the plate to be confusing to me.
Yeah, esoteric has a negative connotation to it as a word.
Yeah. To me, it's needlessly incomprehensible.
Like, absolutely. I would never say, yes, I would never say, oh, an esoteric restaurant. Yum. Let me take my family there. Let me go there.
I want my diners to feel like they're doing math.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Oh, WT.
So the two menus at Sabor, it was a tapas trio, red snapper on a paella cake, and olive oil ice cream. What do we think?
This is like, I kind of feel like for both restaurants, it was sort of like, yeah, fine. This is the most boring food I've ever heard. Yeah, you know, like, and I think a lot of that is kind of because we are going back to 2006. I'm guessing, or maybe just like what the nature of the show was then, of being like, people aren't in this for the food, they're in this for the personality. So make whatever the fuck you want, you know, like, I don't know like what the thing is, but like, truly, like they said what they were making, and then like I immediately forgot, and it was like, oh yeah, we're doing like some pie, and it's like, okay, yeah, like even like tapas trio was like, what is that? Like what tapas? What are you making?
Like being, like, curry.
Yeah.
I agree. I think in this season already, there are a lot of challenges where like, I don't know if you were pushing for creativity in this challenge more so than competency.
Yeah.
And this feels like a restaurant management competency challenge, which is not fun for a food fan to watch.
Yeah.
I was really curious what a paella cake looks like. That's not something I had heard of, but I also haven't eaten paella. I know it's just probably like a rice cake.
You've had like I know you've had a risotto cake before because I've had one with you. So don't act
so don't lie, Reka.
No, what a paella cake
I just wanted to see what it looks like.
I imagine it's just either probably like you know, paella, they let it sit overnight so it hardens a little bit, make it into a ball, and then fry it, or like, I guess, sear it on either side.
Yeah, I think fried, it sounds good to me. Seared is probably good too, but hard to judge because as Trapp and I were kind of discussing before the show starts, season 1 doesn't really do like emphasize food beauty shots the way later seasons really do.
It should. I realized like after the fact, I was like, why can I not remember any of this food? And I was like, I don't think I saw a picture of any of it. I don't see I got a shot of like, let me see that paella cake. Let me see that.
Yeah, especially during this challenge. I think this challenge, really, you saw almost none of it.
Yes. Okay, so the American Workshop menu, tuna tartare, to me, that exemplifies exactly what you guys are both saying of like, it feels boring. I'm like, tuna tartare at Restaurant Wars? Come on. Like, I think it's just like, compared to later seasons, they're like, opening with like, I've made a new type of oyster.
I had 14 hours and somehow I bred a new oyster. It's delicious. You have to try it.
I only had 2 hours at Restaurant Depot, but I forged a new.
I made a table.
Coaxing
I made a
bunch of like oyster larvae. Come on.
So
John was gone forever with his oysters.
He's gonna laugh.
Yeah, it feels so different watching this.
Exactly. Episode. Roast chicken with lemon, rosemary, and thyme. I mean, that sounds like kind of just like a no-brainer good, but like, again, is it interesting?
No.
Fall vegetables. I was mad at first. I'm like, you better fucking tell me what those are. I'm furious if
fall vegetables.
Fall vegetables. Pumpkin? Is it all pumpkin, Tiffany? Tiffany did a challenge earlier this season where she very cutely made a vegetable lasagna in a sugar pumpkin.
We loved this.
That was so cute. It makes me want to throw up. It was so cute.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Matt in the comments is making a really good point that this all sounds like wedding food, and I completely agree with that. I think it was the same in last episode was the episode with like where Dave made like John Dory and stuff where they switched dishes. That felt similar to me too. Matt's totally right. It all kind of feels like wedding food.
I guess on that note, though, because like something else that I found weird about this was that they, because in more current seasons, when they have like diners voting, it will be like, okay, the diners will vote on something and you'll get a little something from that, but they're not picking the winner. Like we're the judges, we pick the winner.
They might be like one vote of the like 4 judges.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like this contributes to it, but like they're not getting final say here. But the diners do get final say in this thing.
Yes.
So like it's maybe not a bad strategy to do the wedding food where it's like, We're shooting
Right,
it's like this is just a ball, fastball right down the middle. Like this is gonna be a people pleaser
soup from a can.
Yeah.
Everyone's favorite.
That's why wedding food is so boring, because it's like, well, we can't upset grandma's palate, and we also have to please racist Uncle Tom. And
here's a bowl of milk.
Yeah.
Wait,
my favorite.
Yeah, I am actually curious, Trapp, because you are notoriously married.
Notoriously well known for being married.
Iconically married.
Yes.
And I know that both you and your wife are very into food, very into cooking. Reka and I are not married, as some people may or may not know. So we haven't
get in there, huh?
Yes, we're not married to each other. A lot of people are shocked to find that out, and we are not individually married.
Okay.
But so we haven't had the chance to have a wedding. You did, I'm assuming. What did you serve at your wedding? Now that we're talking about wedding food, it's completely off track, but I'm curious.
Yeah. I'm probably not going to be able to remember totally.
Oh my God. It's just remember a Top Chef challenge in season 1.
I do remember. Well, the main thing I do remember is there was this dish that we were going to serve that was our vegetarian dish, and was like, this is the best thing on the menu. Wow. It was, and the thing that really made it were it was like a bunch of like a sort of like stewed vegetable thing, but it had these like big ol' like ricotta gnocchi sort of throughout them, and they were just these like pillowy, delicious, like rounded the whole thing out kind of thing. And on our wedding, they forgot them. The dish came, it was just the vegetables, and the gnocchi wasn't in there. And it was like, that was like the big sort of like food disappointment of the thing. You go into it, you go like, oh, things are going to get screwed up. And like, you hope that it'll be like the smallest thing. And I just remember my wife being like, can't wait to get my hands on this gnocchi. And then like got over there, and it's just like,
and then it becomes like the vegan dish, and the vegan's like,
I don't want this. Yeah.
This just looks like the stuff left over from something else.
We had a variety. The reason I say I can't remember is because we had like we did a sort of like a bunch of different options, and it was all sort of like, there's a restaurant in town that basically like kind of made a menu for us.
Wow.
And this is maybe a couple years ago now, so 7 years ago now. So I don't totally remember what we served, but it was all great except for the missing gnocchi.
Wow, damn.
Good to know.
But it is a hard thing to choose for that stuff, because like you want to choose. We didn't sacrifice that much on the food. Like there was like a little bit of like, okay, like we want to appeal to different palates, but we were both like, it's like, hey, we like to eat fun stuff, so we're gonna make sure that everyone's eating fun stuff.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. It's your wedding.
It's your wedding.
It's my wedding. It's my special day.
And I'll cry if I want to. Okay, great. Sorry. These fall vegetables, which they later elaborated on, were celery root, cipollini onions, and Brussels sprouts. I'm like, I eat all that stuff every day. Of course.
Was this also the dish where they're like, don't cut the onion?
Yes. I don't know.
Have a big old whole onion in there.
I thought Tiffany says that, and this must be because the other dishes are tuna tartare, roast chicken, and fruit crisp. So
it makes a little more sense with that now that you say it's a cipollini onion, because those are so small. But like when they were like, I think don't cut the onion, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Just a whole roast onion.
I love onions, and if someone were to give me half an onion on a plate, I would like that. But I understand that's maybe not everybody's interest.
Yeah, I like onions too.
So actually, we're for that at our wedding.
Yeah, when Reka and I get married, just big onion. Get ready. You get
the biggest awesome blossom you've ever seen.
Yeah. You get one raw. Vegetarians get cooked.
Yeah.
Okay, incredible. And a fruit crisp, and I guess we'll fucking die not knowing what was in that or what it looked like.
And also, like, people were showing up, they're looking at the menu, it's like, oh, fruit crisp, that sounds good. It's like, what are you talking about? There's no information.
I will say
it's a class of food and a texture. That's all you get. What are you talking about?
Oh, vegetable mush.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Soft bread, yes.
Yeah. Okay, but that's different.
Yum, sign me up.
I will say too, because they had to handwrite their menus, Stevens was absolutely illegible to me. It was written in like, picture papyrus. And picture I make the kerning like all fucked up. So it's like everything's like so close together and like very like spindly and weird. And like it was so incomprehensible for me to read. I couldn't read it. Okay. So just a little backstory too on them acquiring these ingredients. Miguel accidentally gets fish that was $17.99 per pound instead of $7.99. I think he's like a goofus or whatever, but I do feel bad for him.
No,
not in a way that's like, come on, give him another shot. I'm just like, he's just out of his depth, and he's on a team with Steven. I certainly prefer Miguel to Steven.
Leanne did question him though, right? Like, because he was like, because it was like, it's only this much, and she's like, really? I thought it would be more than that. He's like, nope, $7.99.
She ordered extra pounds of it.
Yeah.
And then he comes back and goes, oh, it's $17.99, and she's like, I wouldn't have ordered anything extra.
And how would you not notice when like you're watching it get rung up that it's like so much, it's more than twice as much as you thought it was.
Also, listen, he accidentally did this whole challenge is what I'll say.
Yeah, I do think he did accidentally do everything. You're right. Also, Steven's killer, when Leanne is like, oh my God, I thought you said it was $7.99. It's $17.99 a pound. And Steven goes, that's like 2 bottles of wine. That's like somebody who
everyone's hitting their character game really hard.
Like truly. Absolutely can't not process. And like, I'm 6 bottles of wine high. That's so stupid.
I said this last week, but I will not stop saying it. I think Miguel has probably grown a lot since the episode, and this is nothing personal towards him, but I think if a woman behaved the way that Miguel behaved, I think if a woman forgot as many things as Miguel messed up as many things as Miguel messed up, I think people would absolutely ream her. I think the other chefs would not take her seriously, but I think that Miguel still gets more credit than the women or Dave.
Because he refuses to acknowledge it about himself too.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think
I think that's a big issue I have. And I don't think that's necessarily Miguel's fault. I think it is what it is, but I can't let that go unsaid.
I agree.
I'd be interested to see a season where they just bring back all the season 1 contestants and make them do it again. We'd be like, the world of food has changed. You all are, 10 to 15 years older, or however long it's been since season 1 was. And it's like, like maybe you've grown as chefs. Maybe you're not chefs anymore. Like, we're going to do this.
It's true. We've looked up some of these people, and obviously they were on this show at a time when social media wasn't really a thing. So it's hard to find some of them. Whereas I think some people use the momentum from Top Chef and create a social media presence. Okay, so we begin the restaurants. The red team's in the blue room and the white team's in the purple room, or whatever the fuck they did. And they are...
American Workshop, you're in the Sabor room.
Yeah.
So while like Leanne and Miguel are setting up shop, and Harold and Tiffany are setting up shop, Dave and Steven are going to like the Restaurant Depot equivalent store. And their budget is $500. They had $500 for food, $500 for like glassware, tableware, whatever. Of course, Steven is playing his game hard, and he's like, how much are wine glasses? Wine is not part of the challenge, nor was buying wine. Did you see that fucking...
You would never know wine was not part of the challenge from
Steven.
You would never know.
He incorporates it in every challenge this season. He incorporates
he's credited as a sommelier, right? Like that's his like lower third. It's like, that's what I think of myself as. Before I'm a chef, I'm a sommelier.
Yes. Well, he acts
like okay, bye.
It's so fucking annoying, and he ends up at like $1,000 with his bill, and then he takes forever at Restaurant Depot, leaving Leanne and Miguel a little bit in the lurch. Miguel also forgot to ask the butcher to take off the scales, right? So Leanne is having to descale this fish really quickly on the fly. Also wanted to point out that Steven, looking at the other restaurant, looking at American Workshop, said, it's very warming and comfortable. That's something I would never engage in, which I was like, honestly, way to be self-aware, but he wasn't self-aware. What a crazy thing to say.
The fucking cartoon every step of the way.
Yeah. It looks like people want to be in there, and that means I don't.
Well, he does, like, Steven sort of encapsulates like my least favorite thing that I'll ever encounter in a restaurant, which is like when you do have this sort of like old fine dining kind of restaurants where there is like this active sense of exclusion at all times, where it's like there's a system here and there's a thing, and the food's very expensive, but you can tell that half of that money is going towards like this expensive piece of art that we hung on the wall, or like, you know, pure silverware, whatever. And it's like, I don't want any of this stuff. And I'm immediately like uncomfortable. Like, I feel like I don't belong.
You hate fine dining. You don't like anyone.
I like fine dining, but I don't like there's like a level of like, I like
you
like
don't
my
like
favorite
white glove. Like,
yes, fuck that. I hate that so much. I'm immediately so tense and feel like I'm being judged every step of the way. Yes. And also like they're doing things that I don't want a restaurant to do, like the constantly like switching out silverware and stuff like that, where it's like, just like, let me like have a conversation
and it all together.
Yeah, big old ball. I want you to put it in a blender. Every course, put it in a blender, blend it all together, make a big old mush, and then pour it in a trough, and then Piggy will slam his head in, and that's it.
Single plate I get is just deconstructed curry, and put it all together, and now it's constructed.
Also, I want to take a quick time out just to say that we have raised so far $175, which is a little over 58 meals for the residents of Los Angeles, which is absolutely incredible. I am so thankful for all of you. And I do also want to say, though, that every night we feed hundreds of people. So we're doing an incredible job, but also there's always room to grow.
What if we could get to 100 people fed?
We're already at almost 59. It seems really doable. And just keep in mind, you don't have to watch the show to donate. Send this to your rich uncle. Send this to your boss. Send
it to Padma. Send it to Tom.
Honestly, if you've got
get them in here so they can hear what we think about witchcraft.
Yes. I'll bleep that whole section out. Yeah. But yeah, truly, thank you guys so much for your continued support. Please continue. We have 24 hours until we'll officially submit everything you've donated.
Yes, thank you so much.
Cool. So we finally see that 13 people went to Sabor and 13 people went to, dear God, I wrote blue team and red team as if I was trying to break up. I think Harold's team was the red team because they were in the white room. So that had 17 people.
Okay.
Kill me. And then the blue team, yes, the blue team was Sabor because that's Stevens, and they had less people, 13.
Can I make a bold assessment here?
Yeah.
I don't think this was a restaurant war. I think the number of people that were dining does not really constitute a restaurant.
I
think the number of dishes that they made was barely a menu. And I don't think any of this front of house folks made a dish. So they had two people cooking for like 15-ish people.
Yes.
And making like chicken. Like, I don't know.
That's so interesting. I didn't even think about that, but that is 100% true. That's like Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
This is Thanksgiving. This is dinner party wars. This is like an office get together war.
Yeah, there are like normal challenges in other Top Chef seasons that serve way more people, like hundreds of people.
Yes, I agree. Can I also say too, because we haven't pointed out a thing that we tend to point out every episode, which is that Padma is not in this season. It's Katie Lee Joel, Billy Joel's ex-wife. They were married at the time. Okay. He met her when she was
in college.
And every week we also point out that she wrote a book about surfing called Groundswell.
So that's just kind of something that we like to remind the audience every single week, alert our new guests, kind of take that in.
Is that
yes.
Katie Lee Joel wrote a book about surfing.
Yes. And if those things both upset you, make sure to donate to Hollywood Food Coalition so we can keep the show going.
Incredible.
I do miss Padma. Like having never watched these. When does the switchover happen? How long was she the host? Okay.
So
and like,
this is the only season.
Yeah. And it's totally unfair. Like I watched this one episode and it's like, where's Padma? but it's like, I don't know, maybe she's a fine host. I don't really know, but I am so used to seeing Padma and also I guess I associate it now with like some of the other changes that we've had.
Yes. I think you see the value of a host that's like a little bit funny. Mm-hmm. And can like roll a little bit with the punches. Because I think Katie Lee really improved in this episode for me. I thought she was a little more warm. She's been pretty like wooden for most of the series. I thought she was better in this episode at kind of like going with the flow. But yes. She's no Padma Lakshmi.
Absolutely.
Steven, before the judges table, says, not to worry, our food was fly, and I threw up all over my computer, and it short-circuited and exploded.
I also wrote down for that because like to really like hit that home, the fact that it was like a man in a suit with the fattest fucking tie you've ever seen, drinking a glass of champagne and leaning against things like our food was fly. It's like, but you don't get to do any of this.
You're 24 in the mind of a 97-year-old. You can't talk like this. Absolutely.
It's unreal.
Okay. So the winner was the red team, who was in the purple room or whatever. They got a customer satisfaction rating of 26 out of 30. This was Dave, Harold, and Tiffany. And they really loved Dave as front of house, basically, which I would too. We love Dave on this. We
show. Love Dave. And I would say the most important thing in the entire season of, I might even say in the entirety of Top Chef comes from this episode when and what I forgot was that they win. They win. They are at the winner's table.
Not only do they win, he wins.
Yes.
Moments after being like, I'm not your bitch. It's like, well, yes. I guess you're the winner.
I had no recollection that was, because that's a phrase that people bring up as like Top Chef, super crazy. I'm not your bitch. And it's like, to see that, it was like, congratulations, you're the winners. Who would you send home? Well, I guess Dave. I'm not your bitch.
Yeah.
It felt great. I loved it. I was like, when I heard it, I truly was like, like I was so excited to hear it. Just it's
like his catchphrase.
Yes, it's such an iconic moment.
Do the thing, call me a bitch.
Yes, absolutely. And we're not utilizing it enough in day-to-day life.
Yes. Is there anyone you guys would say I'm not your bitch to?
Anyone who wasn't my bitch or whose bitch I was not.
Well, yeah.
Rika, I go to you.
I was not yet.
I'm not your bitch.
Okay.
Very polite.
Verily. Perfect. So I do hate in this season that Tom is like instigating a bunch of stuff. Like, well, who do you think is weak? That's like not my, I come to Top Chef for the food. I don't come for any drama. I'm here to eat with my eyes. And
especially on the winner's table where it's like, hey, you won. Like this is like a moment of like celebration. Like let's feel that like positive energy. And it's like, now that you've won, who's the weakest person on your team? I want to do this.
Yeah, exactly. So like Tiffany kind of says, she's like, well, I came up with the name. I've been sitting on that for 5 years. Gurf. Yeah. She says the fall vegetables were hers. Gurf.
And hashtag Gurf.
Yeah, hashtag Gurf. The jus was Harold.
Gurf is the name of your restaurant on Restaurant One. I've been sitting on this name forever. Come get Gurf.
Katie wrote about surfing. I wrote about Gurfing. The jus was Harold, but she's like, but I could make it too.
What a crazy thing to say.
It's like, okay.
And Dave did front of the house, but I could do that. I was like, Tiffany did change in later seasons when she pops up again. Spoiler.
I like her so much more now.
Yes. So that's what Tiffany said. Dave was like, I bring integrity. I ran front of the house really well. He comments that like, you've been bashing me for 24 hours, which I don't know how much she did of that to his face. She certainly did a lot of it to camera.
Yeah.
And then I'm not your bitch comes out. And then Tom interrupts. I truly laughed out loud. And he goes, the question I asked was who should go to con.
It reminded me of the question was, is this your handwriting? It's just like, it's so off track. All right, we're talking about bitches now, but that wasn't the question. We're talking about the Cannes Film Festival.
Oh my God, that really killed me. That was good comedic timing. And then Harold. Oh my God, Harold's always sitting in the farthest seat. He's like invisible, out of frame, like this.
Yes.
And they're like, and Harold, what do you think? He's like, well, I'm not the guy that should go. No way.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be. I mean, I love Tiffany. Working with her feels like family. She's a dream. I love her, and I love Dave. I'll send Dave. Like, he's just so fucking cool. And
also, yes, we did have a little fan meme sent to us that we're gonna show you because we thought it was truly great.
Yes.
We had a little fan meme sent to us from a friend of the show and a fan of Harold's.
Okay, so this is our Harold fan meme. Can you see it? No. Oh wait, did I not share screen? Okay, yes, sorry. Let me share.
Share the whole screen.
Here we go. I'm sharing. Do you see?
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he He's a handsome guy.
He looks so sexy here. And also the fact that it says screaming, I'm just now noticing that.
It's incredible. And can you see my cursor?
What,
yes.
Is that a cigarette? What is that?
No, he always keeps a pencil in his ear.
Wow.
And I'm like, what is he writing a note for?
He's doing a little, yeah. In my mind, I'm like, oh, he's smart. He's doing a little Sudoku.
He's doing Sudoku. He's cooking fall vegetables. He's like, six.
Yeah.
Oh, fall vegetables.
Fall vegetables.
That's screaming subtitles, the funniest thing. That's not what's happening here.
Because it's not screaming.
It's great. We love it. Thank you so much for sending that to us, Colin.
Send any of your favorite screen grab. What I also love about this, I watch everything with captions on. I grew up with my grandparents and they watch everything with captions on. So I don't even notice it. So I truly appreciate you doing that. And you get secret jokes when you watch the captions. And that's
true. That's true. Yeah, feel free to send us any Top Chef memes, any Top Chef pictures like that maybe you see of Padma that look really hot and you want Reka and I to see.
Yeah.
Anything you cooked.
Yes.
Just feel free to DM the Top Chef inspired anything to Talk Chef on Instagram, which you should all follow.
Absolutely. Okay, so Dave wins. He's going to con. It's very cute and sweet. And on the bottom, we have Team Orange or whatever. They got a 22 out of 30 for customer satisfaction at Savour. And they grill Steven. They're like, you're getting caught up in trying to educate the public. To which Steven, again, this is not the first time he's given this look, but it is clear words are going in. And then I think they're getting twisted into like an origami paper crane that comes out of his other ear that says, you're the best.
Yeah.
Because he'll always be like, everyone there said I was perfect. They said I was hot. They said I was good. They said I had the best food they ever tasted. I don't know if they're just not including the footage he's talking about. Yes. Nobody has ever said the thing he's saying.
Yes.
Also, if it is psychotic behavior to be told, okay, there are two things you know to be true. Someone has said something to your face in a social situation, and someone has anonymously written a thought about you on a piece of paper. Yes. You absolutely believe the anonymous piece of paper. Like, you have to believe that is the more true thing. There are a million reasons why someone would not to your face be like, hey, you're boring me to death with your wine talk, and I don't need you to explain to me what tapas are.
All the women in that restaurant nodded politely and breathed heavily, which I knew to mean they loved it. So what are you talking about?
It's so crazy. He said verbatim, he said, their eyes widened and their mouths dropped.
Their eyes glazed over and their mouths slackened.
Yeah, their jaws relaxed.
They all fell over.
Yeah.
I never had a more captive audience.
Yeah.
Exactly. So at the end of the day,
it's worth noting too that he specifically said like that like he thought their restaurant was better because they provided an educational experience.
Yes.
And like they called him out, like it's like that's not what people want, but it's like, well, yeah, no, what the why did you think that was a selling point?
Like a school, and
you know you want to get lectured when you go to a restaurant.
So Miguel ends up going home, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yes, he goes home.
Is it a thing in this season for everyone who goes home that they get that towel shot? Do you know what I'm talking about? After Miguel left, there was a shot of a towel that said Miguel on it.
Honestly, that's a good question. I usually tune out by that point, so I have to notice. We got to keep an eye out for that.
Pictures of towels, or is that something?
That's what I was asking. I was like, is this like? I was like, I only watched this episode of this season, so I don't know if this is either a thing that they've done the whole season, like they've thrown in the towel, or if this had some sort of significance that like
not
beyond
out of the realm of possibilities that for 7 episodes Jordan and I have not noticed.
Absolutely.
There were, I don't now. I'm wondering if like I'm crazy. Like I swear there was a shot of a gauzy towel that said Miguel on it. I was like, you're going home. And it was like, instead of getting to like,
if there's towels, Trapp's a witch. If there's not, he sings.
Absolutely. Now, Trapp, we actually have a question, important question that we always do at the end of every show. So as we know, the winners were American Workshop. And they had kind of like a new American menu. And we are wondering if you were in this elimination challenge.
At your restaurant, which was called Oh Shit, I think.
Yes. Oh shit, it's dinner.
Oh shit, it's dinner. So your restaurant is called Oh Shit, It's Dinner.
Yeah.
And what would the vibe be, and what would your entree be?
Cool.
Or your signature dish, I should say. And then what we do at the end of this is we put it up on our Instagram as a poll, and we put it up against the actual winner of the challenge and see who wins.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the vibe, like my favorite kind of like dining thing is the sort of like, is like the upscale, low scale thing, you know, where it's like, it's like, we're going to cook interesting food, but it's like butcher paper on wood tables, like, maybe not as big as like the huge communal table, because that can be a little awkward, but like, generally speaking, like it's aiming for like large-ish groups and people, and like, this is very cliche and like shitty sounding, but like the mason jar drinking glass kind of place where it's like, yeah, we're not trying to be fancy. We're trying to be like a little cool, but everyone relax. So that would be the vibe I'm going for. Yeah. As far as signature dish, I'm a big fan of like, I think fusion gets a bad rap, but I really am a big fan of like being able, like taking things that from like disparate cultures that seem like they're unrelated and being able to like bring them together into something that is like, oh, like those, because like, so there are so many foods that like every culture like has a dumpling, like everyone's like gone like, hey, if I put stuff in dough, it's amazing. And like, so like there's so many of these and like flavor combinations that different cultures like come across that are like, oh yeah, like these just work together. And so being able to smush those together are good. And I'm also a big fan of cooking Korean. So I would probably do some kind of like Korean fusion thing. And I guess what I would specifically do, because I already said my favorite sandwich is a Reuben. So here's what I'm going to pitch to you right now. It's a Korean Reuben. So instead of your pastrami, you do like a kalbi or bulgogi marinated beef, but you still smoke it like you would a pastrami, so it gets nice and tender and smoky. And then instead of sauerkraut, you do chopped kimchi. Yes. And you put that on there, so you get the sour, crunchy thing. Again, like sauerkraut, kimchi, like that's just the same idea there,
yes.
And then, I don't know, instead of like the Russian dressing, maybe do like, I mean, you already have the heat, and like I wanted to say like a sriracha mayo, but you already have the heat from the kimchi. Something else. I don't think you need like like a Reuben can be a little too rich sometimes, but maybe or maybe you just go you put some like maybe like a I don't know, put some citrus in there or something like a
like a yuzu aioli,
like a yuzu aioli kind of thing. Yeah,
yuzu aioli, yeah.
But I think keep the rye bread. Keep because like I feel like you have to have like a caraway rye with a Reuben. Make it nice and thick so we can stand up to it. But that's what I'm pitching for you. A nice a Korean Reuben.
Ooh, oh shit, it's dinner.
Oh shit, it's dinner.
We love.
That sounds really delicious. Wow. Well, Trapp, I just got word. I got a buzz from Katie Lee in my ear. You are top chef.
Oh wow!
Yes.
Oh wow! Oh my god! And then all the family comes out, and everyone. And then a very awkward hug to the runner-up is like, "Hey, next time, you really you cooked your heart out, but you're not top chef, so tell your family. Your family's here too. You should tell them
and
you're not top chef."
And they flew to Macau
to watch you lose.
Yeah.
Incredible. Well, thank you so much. Again, donations for the Hollywood Food Coalition will be open in Jordan's Venmo for 24 hours. I put her Venmo in the chat. It's at JORDANMYR1CK.
Yes.
Jordan, where are we at right now?
We have raised $200. $200. Which is absolutely incredible.
That's great.
And shit.
Means
that's almost truly, like 70 meals, right?
Yeah, it's almost 70 meals. It's so incredible. Hollywood Food Coalition reached out to Reka and I and told us how much they appreciated this, how excited they were that we were doing this show tonight. So I know that they really, really appreciate it. So thank you all so, so, so much for donating. It really, this is an organization near and dear to Reka and I, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much. And keep watching Top Chef, everyone. We'll be back next week with another guest. Yes. Trapp, do you have anything you want to plug? Yeah, social handle you want?
I wish I did. You can follow me on Twitter at Mike W. Trapp. You can follow me on Instagram at the same handle. I'm not as active there, but that is where I post food pictures. So if this is
you want to get it,
that
is
good.
Trapp's the kind of guy who like makes everything from scratch. You literally, I think, pitched a show about that once.
It's
did,
incredible.
yeah.
It's incredible.
So you definitely want to see these food pictures.
Yeah. And everybody's social media is in the bio of this. You can follow Reka and I, and also follow Talk Chef on Instagram.
Yeah. We'll be posting the link for every upcoming episode the Sunday before. So in case you're like, how the fuck do I find these? That's how.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
Well, thanks so much, everybody. Thank you, Trapp. Thank you to all our fans. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for donating.
Of course.